I'm Jana,
And I'm Trish.
and this is Musically Inclined. You've missed us, haven't you? We're back.
Yeah, they definitely missed us.
Yes, we're back, and we are, what's a nice way to say it? Better than ever? Different than ever? Different than ever.
Different, yes.
We are different than ever. We are building on the Bennington County Choral Society's theme of building community through music by going to the community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This season we're decided to switch it up a little bit and get some different guests on who are within the community.
In the community.
And play music.
Play music.
Teach music.
Teach music, do something musically. And this one we found, actually, he's not a member of the Choral Society, but his wife is a member of the Choral Society.
Exactly.
And our guest this time is, let's see, there are a lot of different jobs he's had, so I'm just going to call him Assistant Professor Eric Despard from Southern Vermont College. He's going to be joining us today. It's going to be awesome. You're not going to believe what we say, or what he says, or what he does.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
You won't want to miss it.
So just keep watching. All right, so we are very excited to have with us today Eric Despard. He is, I want to see if I get this all right, because he has a myriad of titles. He is an assistant professor at Southern Vermont College. He is the executive director of the Laumeister Art Center at Southern Vermont College. He is a medical musician. He is the director of music.
Very good.
Anything else? Have I left anything out?
No, I think that's great.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yes.
That is a lot, and,
Yes.
and all of them are fascinating and interesting. But let's first ask. We always like to go with this. So, what instruments do you play?
Primarily classical guitar,
Okay.
but I also play jazz, blues, rock. So guitar is primarily
Is primarily.
the
Do you
instrument.
sing?
I do sing,
Okay.
and I play bass
Nice.
and piano. Not very well.
I was gonna say, if he sings, why isn't he singing with us?
Well, I think we just list the reasons
Yes.
why he's not singing
I'm
with
a
us.
little busy. Exactly.
Did you hear those 4 things?
Yeah,
But I think her wife sings with us, doesn't she?
She does.
She does.
Yes,
so we
absolutely.
get the
Yeah.
feeling.
we
Yeah,
get it.
so we
Right,
get that.
right.
So let's talk about, let's see, which one do we want to talk about first? They're all so exciting.
Well, let's go into the stuff you do at SVC, because
Yeah.
I can
Yes.
actually speak to that.
Yes.
As a
gosh,
former
I'm gonna
student that got a D plus.
Oh, sure.
I'm kidding.
No.
She did very well. She's an
Yes,
excellent student.
I was very fortunate when you started, maybe a year into when, or either the year you started, I was one of your students.
Right.
And I'm going to date myself. For college, it was 2003, 2004.
You were 12. You were a child prodigy, if I remember.
Absolutely. Yes.
That would be
Yes.
me. And you were at that part of adjunct.
Correct.
And so
Yeah.
let's go with SVC, because that's
Okay.
where I originally met you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I began at SVC in 2001.
Mhm.
And with my wife Michelle, worked with the chair of the humanities department at the time to create a music minor, which was really wonderful. So we had a music minor for many years, and I was actually an adjunct for 15 years,
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
or almost 16 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, so this new position is fairly new in the past couple of years. So as assistant
congratulations.
professor, well,
Yes.
thank you.
Yep.
Full time.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So the courses that you specifically teach are.
Yes. Okay. So we have an exciting new major at
Okay,
SVC.
yes.
It's arts administration.
Wonderful.
Yes, so we've been
Yes,
working on
that's
it for
a good class. to
Yes,
have.
it is, and for the past couple of years, we've been working on it with various folks in the college. So my humanities chair, it began with the dean of the faculty a couple of years ago, Jennifer Berg, Daisy Levy, and essentially what it is I've taken the music major, combined them, and now there's a concentration in music, a concentration in art, visual art, and then I've taken with sort of the business faculty as well, the business core.
Yeah.
So essentially what it is there's 5 courses that comprise the arts part of it, the
Right.
arts core, which is sort of European art and music taught at the same time.
Oh,
And then we have
Sounds like
rock
fun.
history and pop art. There's world music and world art.
oh, great. Yep.
Women in music, women in art.
That's a really good one.
Yes. and then jazz history and African American art.
Wow.
So
Wow.
those are the core 5 courses.
Yeah.
And then on either side we have courses like band and choir, guitar class, of course.
Yes,
Of
yeah.
course.
Yes. And then also I teach the basic painting course
Right.
and basic drawing and
There's-
those
there's a-
courses.
There's a part of me right now that wants to stop the interview and go sign up for those courses on arts management.
I was
Right.
I
Yes.
was actually thinking the same thing. I might have to go
Yeah.
back to school.
Exactly. That sounds fascinating, interesting,
Yeah.
and
And if I may add,
yeah.
what sort of is different about this program than other programs is that I'm not teaching marketing or accounting
Right.
or whatever. It's really in the business division, and we have a wonderful faculty in the business division. And
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really hands-on, and
Yes.
we're just gifted this art center.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It's a lovely place.
we've already had many interns over there, and it's it's all working out
Yes.
synergistically between
Yeah.
the two.
And,
So.
and I mean, you had the New Yorker show, which
Yes.
goes through September, which is sort of like a brilliant coup to get to this town.
Mhm. Well, thank you.
Which is, the 100 years, if you haven't seen it, it's the 100 years of the New Yorker cartoons. It is, the fact that it's in Bennington blows your mind, and I think that's a wonderful show.
Thank you.
I've briefly raced through the galleries. I've seen I've seen it, and it's hung beautifully. It's really something everyone should go see. I have spent some time in that building, a mere 20 years, and it's a wonderful thing. I think it's wonderful that the college has it. I love the fact that you're putting this course together, because it is a really important course, because I think there are a lot of people that don't understand how to manage art.
Correct.
And it's not
Yeah.
exactly the same way as you manage a grocery store.
Right.
And the stuff you have to know. As Trish and I also know, being on the board of directors for the Bennington County Choral Society, how we plan our schedule and our money is totally different
It
than if
is.
we were selling a product a different
Yeah.
product. So,
Yeah.
the fact that people in town can go learn this, I hope it's like, sold out for the next, people sign up for the next 5
Exactly.
years and there's a wait
Well,
list.
thank you. Thank you.
I think
Yes.
it's kids in the area, if you don't know, this is what you should do. This is brilliant. And, with arts, I think, thriving in Bennington and becoming, I think, more and more important to our culture, this is prime time to start learning.
Definitely.
Seriously thinking about
Definitely.
it. Yeah.
And that- yeah.
Yeah, so that's impressive. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
So,
No. So,
okay.
and then director of music is
Director of music.
Yeah, so in that position, I've had that now for about 10 years.
Okay.
Okay.
And primarily I'm sort of in charge of providing music for all of the college events.
Right.
So commencement,
okay.
convocation, the nurses pinning, we have
Right.
all the
Yep.
ceremonial
Yes, yep.
events. One of my proudest events was the inauguration of President David Evans
Yes,
a
yes.
few years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Yep.
And that was really a lot of fun to play the music for that.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a
So-
very nice event. I think I remember that a little bit. And
Just a little.
yes.
Sorry.
And then let's go to classical guitarist. You travel with us, right?
Yes.
You have,
Yes.
is it?
Yes.
I want to say it's a group. Is it not a group, or is it just you?
Well, so I do a lot of solo concerts,
Right.
Okay.
but then I also will sort of play with various people. So
Okay.
I do have a new music group called the Progression Ensemble,
Ooh,
and it's very unusual, and
That's
sort
even
of I'm always open to new opportunities, and
Yeah.
I received a call from a accordion player, actually Bayan, which is the button accordion, and he wanted to premiere works by a Norwegian composer
oh wow,
named Bjorn Skjolbred.
easy.
And he was working with Linda Ronstadt's nephew, Michael Ronstadt, and we sort of started, sort of playing together these pieces, this trio. And since then, we've commissioned 7 or 8 new works by living composers that we premiere.
Wow.
We've had premieres at some of the great venues in Brooklyn, and Manhattan, and up and down the Hudson River.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
really fun. It's really fun. It's
Wh-
very
when-
different.
When do you find time to do all of this?
I don't know. I don't
Do
know.
you-
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that's something that happens that
Yeah.
you see a lot in the arts. It's like you list everything you do, and you're like, when do you find time to do it? It
Right.
just happens.
It just
It just
happens.
happens.
It does.
Yeah.
And going back to that arts administration
Yeah.
sort of piece, if anybody is watching that's in the arts, I mean, they're going to resonate with the fact that you have to wear every kind of hat possible.
Yes.
Yes.
You're the chief cook and bottle washer as
Yep.
it is, and
Yep.
Absolutely.
and so those skills sort of come together to
Yeah.
create some sort of a career.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I always suggest to artists, it's wonderful that you create art, but also know how to sell art.
Yes.
If that's what you want
Yes,
to do, and that's
absolutely.
that is another really important part of it.
Yes.
And that no one ever teaches. So if you're out there and you're an artist, you may want to take some of these courses.
Yes.
And
And
get some grounding in how you're going to achieve
Yeah.
everything. And so now let's first talk about, how did you get involved with music? What was your driving
yes.
force towards music?
We always like to ask that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I mean, some of my earliest memories were of music.
Okay.
So I remember vividly in nursery school, a singer with a guitarist came and they sang a song called Amy by the Pure Prairie League. So this is many years ago.
Right, yeah.
And it sounded like, what I heard on the radio.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
Yep.
was just blown
Yep.
away. And then listening to the radio, you start
Yeah.
hearing everything. And I was just mesmerized by that. But anytime there was live music, it's always,
Sort of that.
it was key.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I was about 10, there was a guitar in the house, and my father wouldn't let me touch it.
Oh.
So when I was about 10, he said, "Okay, I think you're old enough."
Right.
Of course I would sneak in.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
know.
Of course.
So he showed me the blues,
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
and I was hooked. I just loved the
Yeah.
feel of it,
Yeah.
the way it sort of worked, and then within a very short time, I sort of passed him and his ability, and I just sought out everybody I could find to learn from.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah. So
Sounds like you have just a true passion for
yeah. I mean,
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And at some point, it evolved to practicing 6, 8, 10 hours a day.
Well, yeah, that
forever.
happens.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It does happen.
It sure does. Yeah.
As we can attest.
Yes.
When you're passionate
Yes.
about something,
Absolutely.
you just
You
keep
do it,
going.
yeah.
and
Absolutely.
Time
Absolutely.
time just kind of disappears when you're
Sure does.
when you're enjoying it and you're
Yeah.
passionate
Yeah.
about it.
If it's
Absolutely.
definitely pushing you forward, then
Yeah.
and then medical musician.
Mhm.
This is the one I'm most
This is the
interested
one,
in,
you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think.
we always talk about that. We go to
Yeah.
Monday night, regardless of how we're feeling when we go in, the way we feel when we leave is so much better. It's the best way to start our week. And this is 2 hours of hanging out with Kaylin and a great group of
And
people.
Right.
Singing our
and singing.
hearts out. I mean,
Heart,
Yeah,
lungs,
hearts,
absolutely.
lungs. I mean, it's sometimes very grueling.
Yeah.
But at the
But it's
end, we
exhilarating.
still
Yeah.
feel like there's energy and power,
Mm-hmm.
and we still feel good,
Yes.
no matter how intense
Yeah.
the rehearsal was.
Sure.
So we understand that it can make you feel better.
Yes.
So, but now there's like proof that
Yes.
music makes
Yeah.
you feel better.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're
So,
involved in this.
I am. So I'll tell you the story of how I became involved. It was a Sunday afternoon in the fall 2 years ago. And someone called my phone, and you can look up,
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
recognize this number. So I Googled the number, as we can do now, and it came up as a renowned classical guitarist in New York City. So I assumed that he was just calling because there was a gig up here that he couldn't quite make, and he was going to pass some work on to me or something like that. And I picked up the phone and called him back. And his name was Andrew Schulman, and he launched into this whole story about the book. I said, what about the book? He said, well, I wrote a book called Waking the Spirit, in which he talks about he had a diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. He was told to sort of get his affairs in order. He had about two weeks to live, but they were going to do an exploratory surgery. So we went into Beth Israel Hospital in New York City, and ended up not being pancreatic cancer. It was some sort of a tumor or a growth, a cyst actually, I think. And everything was great. And then he flatlined and actually died on the table for several minutes. And they revived him and put him into a medically induced coma. So it was very perilous. He was the sickest person in the ICU. And his wife, Wendy, had the presence of mind to play his iPod for him. And it was his favorite piece, St. Matthew's Passion by Bach. And after he'd heard that in this deep coma, he awoke. Yes.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, powerful stuff. So he tells me the
Yeah.
story, and and it evolves to where he goes back about 6 months later to Beth Israel, and he starts playing for the sickest of the sick, because that was his unit, and that's where
Yeah.
they saved his life. And he sort of soon realized that there was something happening in this unit, and so did the staff. He would come in and play, and the whole unit would just quiet down, and everybody was a little bit less stressed. So it has a big impact on the staff, the doctors and nurses. But then also, sort of watching the monitors, you can see blood pressure decrease. You can see activity and breathing improve, and very subtle things. But it reaches sort of the deeper parts of the brain. So. Yes. So he told me all this, and then this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
We were talking about I've had many students over the years. So for quite a few years, I had taught a young boy who I think he stopped when he was about 12, whose father was the head of trauma surgery at Albany Med, and now is the head of trauma at Berkshire Medical Center.
Right.
Okay.
And he recommended me to Andrew, who had been coming up to BMC with the founder of medical music, Dr. Marvin McMillan, who got a new position at BMC from Beth Israel. And he and Dr. McMillan, Andrew Schulman and Dr. McMillan, started this program at BMC. And they were looking for another musician to train, because as it was, he was the only medical musician there was.
Right.
And the idea was, if it ends with him, it's a great book, it's a great story.
Right.
But how do we get this into more and more
chapters.
Yeah.
chapters and more hospitals
Right,
Yeah.
yes,
and medical
yeah.
centers? So we started our private training, and since then I've been going into BMC and playing for patients in the ICU. Yeah.
That's remarkable.
It is
Yeah.
remarkable. What type of music do you traditionally play when you're going in to visit those people?
So one of the criteria that we've talked about is that the musician should be concert level and incredibly versatile.
Okay.
Because my favorite music, it's not your favorite music, is
Right.
it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's been a fair amount of research that says that instrumental music, where the vocal line is missing and the words are missing, actually stimulates the brain differently because we fill in the lyrics.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
oftentimes I'll play and someone will start humming, and then you're really
Yeah.
You're
you're
getting-
activating
yeah.
the brain. So and the goal is to really balance the brain.
This is wonderful.
Well, thank you.
I'm
And I
Yeah.
think
Just
it
totally
somehow it seems
fascinated.
almost obvious
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
this should have been happening
Right.
all along.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I know Albany Med has the healing arts where you can get coloring books and things like that.
Right.
The music just seems to be the next level
Right.
because there is a lot of times that you're in, there's so much fear and angst that goes
Sure.
to a person that's being in the hospital, whether they're conscious or not. And music can just come in and what is it, music soothes the saddest speech. And
Yes.
it's
Right.
just, it seems like a very obvious
Yes.
move, and so I'm very excited that people are doing this.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, music therapists have been doing this for about 70 years.
Okay.
But this is a specialty within that context because music therapists generally have not gone into ICU and critical care.
Right.
Okay.
So this is really sort of just focused on that primarily.
So how far have you grown so far? I mean, you came on relatively you were the second person to come on.
Yes.
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 Have you expanded beyond you coming on?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this evolved into Dr. McMillan developing a curriculum at BMC where there's a workshop every summer.
Wonderful.
We've just completed our second. I was proud to have the first diploma of the workshop, so I'm number one, which is
Of course.
exciting.
Yes.
But I also, in taking it again and teaching a little bit in the second one, I'm also 11. So there are 9 other medical musicians out there.
Yay.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yes, and what's really exciting is that a group of musicians came up from Georgetown University, where they have a program that's sort of similar in sort of a wider scope in the humanities department, and they work with the I think it's the Cancer Institute down there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, about a year ago, we made it our mission statement at the Choral Society of building community through music.
We
And
did.
I think you're like the prime example because you're sort of like at the best place to take music, where it's almost needed the most and can do the most with it. And, it's just, we don't get to reach the people in the ICU unit, so.
No,
yeah,
we don't.
It's, just-
Right,
it's amazing,
right,
and it's
right.
heart-filling, and it's,
Yes.
it's encouraging, it's happy news.
Yes.
I'm going to call this happy news.
Always.
Always
Yes.
happy news. And
Music,
Yeah.
music seems, no matter what mood you're in, it always seems to me to bring people peace in.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
I want to ask, do you have any concerts coming up? Any performances outside of the ICU coming up?
Outside of the ICU.
Where other people can,
Yeah, I'd have to check my schedule.
Okay.
I mean, yes. So
Do you have a website? Maybe
I
should.
do. Yes.
Okay.
ericdespard.com.
That is so easy.
Yes.
ericdespard.com. So
Yeah.
check that out. And just, we are so happy that you agreed to
Yes.
come visit
Thank
with
you
us
so
in
much for
Everett
having me.
Corner.
Yeah.
And everyone, go to the Laumeister Art Center attached to Southern Vermont College. Sign up for the arts management because it sounds like you're going to get classes that are not only informative, but they will broaden your mind. If you are a true musician and need to be inspired, I believe Eric has done that for you today. And we thank you again for joining us. And
Thank
as
you.
always, this is just, building community through music. Music is more than just something you hum. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Can you believe that? I mean, we told you were going to be amazed, but can you believe that? Helping people in the ICU through music, director of music, assistant professor at SCVC, executive director of the Laumeister Arts Center, the arts management courses, and the music that
Oh my
he played.
gosh.
I understand now why they have strolling minstrels back in the day, because if I had that music, I would want someone following me around with that.
Yeah. No, following me around the one
No,
of them.
he can follow me around. I'll put him on a cart. We'll just pull him.
I was gonna say, I can see how people can recover from illnesses with the type of music that was. It was so relaxing. We got to listen to it behind the scenes. It was just incredibly relaxing, and I just felt all the stress go away.
Yeah.
It was just amazing, and all of his accomplishments.
Yes.
And
we hope you enjoyed this. We hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed our new version of our show where we're trying to reach out into the community and pull in all the musicians that help make Bennington and the surrounding area great. We thank Eric Despard for being a part of the show. And as always, I'm Jana.
And I'm Trish.
And this is Musically Inclined. Bye.
Bye.